Okay, so let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating story. It's all about democracy, massive logistics, and some pretty cool technology, looking at how you connect an entire nation for one of its most important days. It all starts right here, with just one person. That single act of casting a ballot is the very foundation of democracy. But think about this. When you scale that up to a country with over 200 million people, how on earth do you make sure every single one of those votes is counted, and counted securely? And just to give you a sense of that scale, look at this number: 176,846 polling units. That's how many there are spread all across Nigeria. Each one is a tiny data point in this giant nationwide network that has to work perfectly, all at the same time. It is a mind-boggling logistical challenge. So, to understand the future, you've got to look at the past, right? Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, you might know them as INEC, did just that. They took a hard look at their last 5-year strategic plan to figure out what worked and, probably more importantly, what didn't. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. On the one hand, you see almost 38% was fully implemented. That's a solid number for sure. But then, look at the other side of the chart. Over 36% was not implemented at all. Just think about what that means. It could be that critical communication upgrades got put on the back burner, or voter registration drives in remote areas just never happened. That's not a failure, though. It's actually a roadmap. It points you right to the biggest roadblocks. And here are those roadblocks. The review called out some major hurdles. Things like nationwide insecurity and delays in funding were huge problems. But look at those two at the bottom: gaps in communication and a low level of digitalization. And then, of course, the whole thing was made even harder by the COVID-19 pandemic. These are exactly the kinds of problems that needed a brand new way of thinking. So, after learning from those challenges, the whole focus shifted. The new plan for 2022 to 2026 isn't just about doing the same things better. It's about building a system that's more resilient, more connected, and way more technologically advanced. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from the plan itself makes the new priority absolutely clear. INEX straight up says that an increased deployment of technology is at the heart of their new strategy. So technology isn't just some nice-to-have extra anymore. It's now a core part of securing the entire election. Which brings us to the big central question, doesn't it? When you're dealing with huge distances, remote villages, and places where the infrastructure is, well, unreliable, how do you build a communication network that can handle the most important data a country can possibly produce? Well, the answer, more and more, isn't on the ground. It's way, way up. Satellite technology is offering this powerful solution to the exact challenges, geography and connectivity, that have made elections so tricky in big, diverse countries for so long. So let's just quickly break down what that even means. Put simply, satellite connectivity lets you bypass all the ground-based stuff like phone lines and cell towers. It gives you a super reliable link for data, no matter how remote or isolated a village might be. It's like building a highway in the sky. So what does that actually do for an election? Well, it means three huge things. First, you get uninterrupted media coverage. Everyone can see what's going on, which builds transparency. Second, you get a secure pipe to send official data through, which is absolutely vital for trust. And third, it brings more people into the process by getting services to places that were hard to reach before. As the experts over at Hispasat, a satellite company, put it, everything, and they mean everything, depends on a solid communication infrastructure. The speed and security of that information is what the credibility of the entire election is built on. Without it, trust starts to disappear. Okay, so let's tie this all together. When you take this satellite technology and apply it directly to those challenges we talked about earlier, you start to create something you could call a future-proof ballot. And this just lays it out perfectly. The old problem of slow, maybe even vulnerable results coming from remote areas, now you have instant and secure data transmission. The challenge of limited media coverage out in the countryside, that's solved with real-time broadcasts from literally anywhere. And what about getting people registered to vote in those isolated spots? You can now have mobile registration points with their own satellite internet. It's a direct, one-to-one solution for some of the toughest problems in an election. Really, what this all boils down to is that technology isn't just about being faster or more efficient. It's really about access and trust. By bridging that digital divide, things like satellite connectivity are making the whole democratic process more inclusive and more transparent for everyone, one single vote at a time. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If technology can solve the problem of distance today, what other barriers is it going to break down tomorrow? That simple, old-school ballot box is becoming a connected data point in a huge secure network. And it really makes you wonder, what's it going to evolve into next?